Last year for this Parsha, I spoke of Isaac as the guy in the middle. Compared to his father Avraham, who was a real trailblazer, and then followed by his son Jacob, who was quite the hell-raiser and manipulator, Isaac's life was quiet, sedate, stationary, and quite routinely normal, whatever normal might mean. From our 21st century perspective, Isaac would seem to have been behind the curve when it comes to moving forward with his life. While his mother Sarah was alive, he remained very faithful and respectful of her, stayed with her and took care of her, not leaving her for any length of time until her death. Because of the 13-year age difference between him and his half-brother Ishmael, he really had no familial playmates to help in his social skills. He was 40 years old before taking a wife, and as was customary then, and still is today in some ultra-Orthodox Jewish communities, had little or no say on who he would marry. That was all arranged by his father Avraham. Fortunately for Isaac, the moment he saw Rivkah, or Rebekah, a distant cousin in the family of Avraham from the old country of his birth, the Torah basically says it was love at first sight for both. His wife Rivkah proved to be the wiser of the couple when it came to receiving prophetic instruction from Hashem. After being barren for some time, and thanks to the faithful prayers to Hashem by her husband Isaac, she conceived but found a great struggle happening within her womb. I'm not sure what it was about the genetic lineage of Avram's clan, but the women in that line seemed to have to frequently deal with being barren, and required constant entreaty to Hashem to become pregnant. This was true of Sarah, now Rivkah, and later to Jacob's love of his life, Rachel. Anyway, I digress. After calling upon Hashem to tell her why this turmoil was occurring within her womb, he informs her that 2 nations are in your womb, 2 regimes from your inside shall be separated, the might shall pass from one regime to the other, and the elder shall serve the younger. That must have given her several months of contemplation as to the meaning of such a prophecy. The Torah doesn't mention it, but I have often wondered if she shared this with Isaac. If she did, he seems to have either forgotten it or ignored it, as the elder son, who was named Esav, became his favorite because he was masculine, became a great hunter and provider of fresh game for their meals, while the younger, named Jacob, he likely viewed as a bit of a mommy's boy, soft and cleaned skin, a lover of hanging out in the camp cooking meals with mom. Something we might call today a girly boy. Isaac's blindness to the deep soul of Jacob over the unenlightened soul of Esau moved in Isaac in his later years, where his intuitive blindness became expressed by actual physical blindness. All this being said, however, Isaac was a chosen man of Hashem, always faithful to the promise given to his father Avraham and passed down to him that this land was their heritage, their destiny, and their covenant with the one and only Creator of all that is. He is the only one of the 3 patriarchs that never left the promised land regardless of the trials and tribulations that he faced. When a massive drought hit Canaan, unlike his father, and also what would confront his son Jacob later on, Isaac did not leave the land promised to him and his descendants. He stayed, and Hashem provided and increased his wealth. When, on more than one occasion, the wells dug by his father were filled in or taken over by the Philistines due to their envy of all that Hashem had done for Isaac, he did not flee, but reopened those wells and even was able to parlay a peace agreement with many of them to ensure it wouldn't happen again. Over time, Isaac's enemies turned from their envy of him to respect because he held his ground and his faith in his Elohim no matter what. That is Isaac's greatest gift to us, his faithfulness and steadfast trust in the promise of Hashem. Avraham may have been a trailblazer, the one to whom Hashem made his oath of the eternal covenant with Avraham and his descendants through Sarah. Jacob may have been the one who wrestled with Hashem, the one whom Hashem loved and renamed Israel and Yeshurun. But it was Isaac who showed the steady path of devotion, and who at the early age of 27 years was willing to allow his father to sacrifice him to his God, not out of stupidity or gullibility, but assured in his young heart and mind that Hashem had promised his father that through his son Isaac, the one he loved above all else, would find a way to bring him back to life in order to fulfill the promise made to his father by El Shaddai. That was the kind of man Isaac was. Yes, like all of us, he had his flaws, his blind side, and sometime a bit too complacency in his living. But his faith, his trust, and his loyalty to Hashem, his father Avraham, his mother Sarah, his wife Rivkah, and to the Promised Land, were the foundation that held him high in the heart of Hashem and nearly all who came into contact with him, May we be so blessed with being the guy in the middle. Thank you for tuning into the podcast or reading the blog for Parshat Toldos. Be sure to like by hitting that thumbs up. Subscribe, and please share this with others. As always, you can find my works on Rumble, YouTube, Locals, Blogger, and Substack. Please make any comments you may have in the comments section below, or you can email me to shmu@startmail.com. I promise to reply as soon as possible. Until next time, this is Shmuel ben Shlomi of Shmu's Views wishing you a Shabbat Shalom.